Welcome back to It's a Tool Thing, drawer number 5 on the toolbox tour. I want to take a quick trip back, actually, something I just realized that I failed to mention on the previous drawer here. Obviously that's just a roll of tape, but these here are actually for removing airlines on the bigger trucks. They don't work great. They don't fit in a lot of places, unfortunately, but I don't know of anything else that works any better. I'd love to have something better. If anybody knows of anything that for removing airlines, obviously you got to have the air drained to be able to get them off. First off, if they're got kind of pressure on, they're even worse for those quick disconnect style airlines. But if anybody's got a great idea, please pass it along in the comments below. And we'll continue here with drawer number 5 on our tour here. So this drawer here is just kind of a mixed bag too. Got these bins here that I use, custom bolts and stuff like that, fittings, so on and so forth. Nothing special. I do like the bins though. They fit in these drawers pretty well, keep things pretty well organized. It sucks that you can't modify the size of the bins, make the spaces bigger or shorter, but it works out. One thing I'd like to point out here is I just have some actual bolts, and this is a tip that I learned years ago with the press-in style caps on the bigger trucks, is to use these bolts when you're going to put the caps in to keep them in line so that you can fit the bolts in later and not have to try to maneuver the caps. If you put these in to the holes, thread them in slightly so the cap's fully extending, you can drive in the cap and then the bolt will start. You just pull this out, put the actual fastener with the Loctite in there and tighten it up. Works pretty good. Something a lot of people don't do, but I've had a few caps break off trying to maneuver them after the fact, and that was my fix for that, and it's been working out pretty well. I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of times you got to grab a fresh set of bolts, but with this bolt organizer here, I can keep a set at my box, save myself another trip. And that's a common theme for I think everybody, but something I always try to keep in mind. If you can keep at your workstation doing your job, you can save some time. Next year I've got these Matco pry bars. I actually purchased these new, the Matco set at least. I'm pretty happy with them. I don't have a Matco dealer. I haven't had one in a long time. I actually didn't even have a Matco dealer at our shop when I bought these. I just ended up meeting this Matco dealer, and I bought a few tools from them. I bought those impact wobblies, those larger 3/8 drive that I had from them. I had a few warranted over the years. I don't think he's a Matco dealer anymore. I tried to get a hold of here not that long ago and wasn't able to. We got tap and die sets here. Just got a couple of thread gauge things. I kind of like having these handy. But these are the 2-level style tap and die kits. I actually like the way I had them set up in my other toolbox. Open one of these up. The 2-level, better than in this box. But they fit in this drawer, and the other drawer I don't think they fit closed. But I actually used to keep them open-faced, basically, just sitting in there like that, and worked out in the other box. The drawers were just a hair skinnier on the skinny drawers, and but they were nice and convenient to be able to get to them. Not that I use taps that much, but now they're closed up. This tap handle here is actually missing. I have it out in the shop truck. Okay, I had 2 of them. I've got just some mixed lunch of taps and stuff out in the shop truck. Not a real kit, not a complete one. So I stole the handle out of it. But I do like these smaller tap boxes though, because they are convenient. They stay out of the way. The one set's actually a Mac set. The other set is a Irwin or something like that, if I remember right. Some other set. The exact same set, same manufacturer. They just put them in a Mac label on one of them. I don't even remember which one is Mac. Standard and metric. Got them labeled on top from way back when. But let's see here. Moving along, these tap adapters, really like them. They come in pretty handy. Got the smaller set in the shop truck and in here, but I only have the larger tap adapters. I just got these. Used them once or twice, and they do work pretty well. I have some of these, but I still don't think they do quite as big. I think these are Snap-on or something. Maybe the set out in the shop truck is. No, I have a couple sets of them. It's the story of my life. Random taps here. I like to pick up the bigger ones when I see them. A lot of guys in the shop come to me for specialty tools and stuff like taps and whatnot. I actually failed them the other day. They needed a 16 millimeter, I think 1.5, and I didn't have one. I've got a couple of the 2.0s, which is what the stuff I work on needs. But it was something else, and it took a finer thread, and I did not have it. Let them down. The shop had to order one. The job had to wait an extra day to get one because we're not real close in town. Here's just a bin. Got some burr bits, some of these Craftsman ignition wrenches, something I never use, but you know, someday they might come in handy. Let's see here, move along. Back here in the back, got these extra shallow snap-on kit metric. I'd love to get the standards in these, just the bits. Don't use it a lot, but when you need it, you need it. It is pretty low profile for getting in tight places. Someday somebody's going to have to teach me how to use this Blue Point extractor kit. I've had this thing for 15 years and I've never used it and never really sat down to figure out how to use it. I'm sure somebody has made a video on it. If you have, put it down in the comments below. I'd like to watch. It's just funny. I've never used that extractor set. I've had it forever and a day. This here, just a tapered reamer. Got a good price on it, you know. Comes in handy when it comes in handy. Not something I do every day, obviously. Got some snap ring pliers, larger ones with some different bits. Cut that top off that case 100 years ago. Now it would actually fit in this drawer. I wish I hadn't, but it's one of those things, you do it. I figured I'd never drag it around anywhere, just be in a toolbox, so it really doesn't need the lid. These blow molded cases, it's a good point. I mean, they're great for keeping things together, like tap sets and stuff like this, but man, they do take up way too much room in your box. If you can avoid them, avoid them. You know, if you can come out with a way to keep them, even if you have to make a little tray or something like this. I mean, this is a $1 item from the Dollar Tree, this little container. It's been working great, you know, keeps it quarantined so you don't lose it, but doesn't take up near as much room as having it all in a fancy blow molded case. Doesn't look as pretty, gets the job done. This here, I've actually had 2 of these over the years. It's for larger, it's a rethreader for larger shafts and whatnot. Another one of those things that very rarely it actually comes in handy. Got a whole bunch of these larger and smaller snap ring pliers. Use them quite a bit on transmissions, but I wish they'd come up with a better way to organize them. They kind of get piled up there. Actually up on top, I tend to stick some gaskets and stuff on top of my box here, on top of those. You know, it doesn't make it look pretty or nothing, but it is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. Got some more pry bars here. Really like these. Actually found this one. This one was, talk about a good deal. I found this one in the middle of the road one day out in the boonies out towards where I live at. So, you know, snap-on pry bar for $0. I don't think you can get a better price on even a cheap one, let alone a higher quality. This is a hood prop, nothing fancy. Lyle, I think, makes it. I've not had any issues with it. I got a guy, one of the other guys in the shop, his doesn't like to lock. He doesn't have to put a pair of vice grips on it. It won't hold anything even remotely heavy. I've never had that problem. But I ended up losing one of these, and that's when I've got a couple of them. That's when I candy cane striped this thing, as I call it. Because I left one, I think, on the hood of, or not a hood, but on a dash in a vehicle. And, of course, the customer never bothered to give it back, but, you know, I've found tools over the years, too. So it's a cesspool of things that you lose and find. But this candy cane striping went on there just to help me avoid leaving one, because I'd set it on a black dash and didn't see it when I was cleaning up. Over here, another one of these. This is a Matco drill bit index, but its shop provides drill bits. I just fill it up with shop drill bits. Nothing fancy. Just keeps them organized. Doesn't take up a lot of room. Have extractor sets here. Not sure I'll be able to get these things open. Here we go. Working single-handed here. With the left-hand drill bits. I've got 2 sets of these. They actually work pretty good. I wouldn't say they're the best extractor in the world, but I like to have a variety of extractors, because when you're having a problem, having a bad day, as they say, it's nice to have choices. And then this other kit down below here is actually a 1/8" burr bit kit. I haven't used it yet. I had a burr bit collar, and one of the negative things about loaning tools is I'd managed to keep control of that collet for years to use it in a 1/4" die grinder. Loaned it out to one of the other mechanics. Can't remember who. Haven't seen it since. I don't like when I try not to loan stuff out sometimes, but I just, it's one of those things I like to do. I like to help guys out, get their job done as fast as possible. I keep a lot more tools than a lot of the other guys, and I like tools. So if I have it, I don't feel that I should necessarily keep it from them. But at the same time, it's pretty annoying when I don't get it back. It's a rare incident. This set here, I've had this for a long time. It's the shorter style extractors. They work pretty good. I've only ever broke 1 or 2 of them. Always been able to get them warranted. So our Mac guy's a great guy. Takes care of us. Had a couple Mac guys over the years. Had this guy for several years now. But don't break them often. But it's nice because they got some bigger sizes. And just a different way. Sometimes you got to fit it in. You got to fit it in. Here is actually a pair of digital measurement tools. And this is a special adapter that fits on a dial indicator and allows you to get a measurement when you can't get the dial indicator in there. Another one of those things, the shop actually had one, and I ran across one, only one I've ever seen used for a few bucks. This case here, I made this up with this foam like 1,000,000 years ago, and man, the foam is not lasting. I mean, it's been in here for quite some time, but the gauge itself works good. Back here, next item back is a set of free threaders, just your standard snap-on set. Got a couple sets of these. Tend to use these more than taps, to be honest. They come in handy. You got the little thread files here for sometimes they'll come in handy. Get in there, get a thread kind of straightened out on the end because you can't even get one of these to start, and then run it over, get the thing straightened out, and get her back together. And then back in the back here is a serpentine belt tool, and this box, this blow mold case, is tight. It actually rubs, if you can hear that on the drawer below. I mean, that's as thick as you can get. As you can see, it is sticking up just slightly proud of the box, but you couldn't get anything deeper in this drawer if you tried. Serpentine belt tool, it's not, to be honest, it's not something I use much. I do use it on occasion, and some of the guys kind of give me grief because on these bigger rigs, most of the time you're just using a 1/2" ratchet or something. And you can, and I have, but I do like that one because you can get a little different angle, makes it a little better. So that's drawer number 5, I believe. If you have any questions, comments, please comment down below. Thank you. Have a good day.